All right, welcome in everybody as we get started for tonight's post-game press conference. As always, we will start out and let Coach make a quick statement, and then we will open it up to questions. So, Coach?
Yeah, probably feeling lots of different things right now. I feel it's a game that we've not played at our best, and we've probably let ourselves down in a point that I feel we could have come here and taken all 3 points if I know that we're at our best. I think the positive is that we're coming home with a point, and we know that every point's important. But my overall feeling right now is we could have been much better.
All right, thanks, Coach. First hand up is Paula. Paula, go ahead.
Good night, Emma. How are you?
Good,
so, Emma, we were talking about the leadership and chemistry for the next 2 games. How was the leadership for this game tonight in particular? Thank you.
Yeah, I think what this team is very good at is problem solving together. I think there's lots of positive conversations in training at half time. I think that is a real positive area of this group in terms of leadership. I feel that there's moments in the game that there's different types of leaderships, and there's times that conversations are important, and there's times that action is important, and you can set the tone and the intensity through that. And I feel that those are areas that if we get both of those things together, that can have a real impact on the game. And as I say, I feel that we just didn't apply that consistently across the game.
Based on previous results, what do you think? What do you guys did different for tonight's game? And how could you guys build from this result for the coming game with Utah Royals? You guys got a point, but how can you guys build that from this result? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of things to carry over, it's just doing what we do well. I think how the game played out tactically and the spaces that we wanted to exploit tonight were exactly where we thought they would be. I feel that, and again, I want to watch it back, so I want to be careful what I say. And I'm not sure if the surface did impact, but I don't feel our passing was fantastic tonight. I don't feel that we were aggressive in like how we stepped into the shape, how we served into the spaces that we wanted to exploit. And I thought they did quite a good job of nullifying some of those spaces. And we never really challenged their back line enough, which was an area that we wanted to do. And I think those sort of like brilliant basics around tightness on the ball under pressure, decision making on the ball, having like real dynamic movements threatening the line is those things that I think are going to be important going against Utah. We know that Utah have got they're a really high pressing team and an aggressive team, so we've got to get comfortable playing under pressure. We know that their games can sort of tip into a lot of those transitional states. So again, how we manage those moments. So I think there's lots of things that we can review and take into the next game. I would also argue that it's going to be a very different game, the Utah game, just because of their style of play is very different.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paula. Up next is Marco.
Good evening, Emma. Mark College Bears Sports Wrap. You mentioned how you guys weren't really crisp on the passing, but then you guys were still able to create some good counters and breakaway chances, only to not be able to finish. So was that maybe part of the frustrating part of not getting those 2 extra points as well tonight?
Yeah, I think so. As I say, I'll always probably feel like this when we don't take all 3 points. And I think around the 2 goals, I think the first one, I've not actually watched them back, so I'm going off memory. The first one probably did look offside. The second one, the feed cut out, so we couldn't actually see the tactical footage on the bench, and that looked really, really tight. So again, it's really fine margins in the final third. We had a couple of breakaways in the game. It's just that final moment, in terms of the decision making of when to pass, when to stay on the ball, the timing to release it, so that we keep our players on side, particularly the quick players. We can sometimes release them a little bit early, and I think with Claire hit the crossbar, I think their keeper made a couple of good saves as well. So again, I feel that the next step for us is being ruthless in those moments. But as I say, we scored 2 tonight, and the fine margins are that they were offside, and we've also hit the crossbar. And as I say, created some other good opportunities. I think our XG in the game was 2. So it's disappointing that we couldn't find a way to score.
Yeah, toward the end of the broadcast, they showed you talking animately to your team. Was that expressing your disappointment, kind of like not getting those 2 extra points for you guys?
Yeah, like I'll be honest with you guys. The conversation then was that I'm not sure right now what to say. In regards of I'll always want to make sure that I'm balanced in the message that I'm giving them. But right now it feels like we've dropped points. I know we've technically earned a point, but it feels like that we could have come away with all 3, and we should be disappointed with that. I feel that the other message is around just being like brave to transfer out. Like I watch us in training and I watch the things that we can do. And yesterday's match day -1 session, we were amazing. The fluidity, we were dynamic, we were crisp on the ball, we were confident, we were winning the last yard on our duels. It's competitive, the energy was really good. So whether that's a little bit of, psychologically carrying the courage of that and into the game, and making sure that we use that. So as I say, that was the message to the players, but I'll always remain pretty balanced because I'll always want to watch it back. And games are won and lost on fine margins, and I feel that we also had some very good fine margins defending our box. The big block from Maddie on the back post at the end. I thought Maddie did a good job of denying some crosses into the box down her side as well. So as I say, there were some moments that we should be really proud of. But there's moments that I feel that we could have capitalised on more, and that was part of the message to the players.
Thanks, Sam. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marco. Dino, you're up.
Hey, Coach. First half, you get outshot by Chicago 9-4.
Mm-hmm.
You have a shot advantage in the second half, 10-4, almost flipping it. Kind of exactly. What would you attribute that to? Was there a message at halftime? Was it subs? I thought Kira had 2 really good passes up the pitch, like early in the second half, and I don't know, maybe got things going. But what would you attribute that second half spike to?
I just don't feel we were at our best in the first half, and the message at halftime was to liven up. I didn't feel that we were aggressive enough out of possession. I didn't feel we were stealing space. I didn't feel we were winning our duels, that we were winning the last yard. I didn't feel that we were really believing and committing to the things that we said we were going to do. So they had a reasonably firm message that that's the things that we need to change in the second half. And I agree, it felt like we had a little bit more of that obviously a few counter-attacks and big moments, but it felt in the balance of play that we were probably a little bit better in the second half. And I thought the subs came into the game. I thought they made a good impact as well.
And then you spoke a little bit to the XG advantage, 2.02 to 0.66. And you also mentioned maybe feels like points dropped, but can you speak to the defense and their performance today and kind of like that side of the ball?
Yeah, I felt that we were better at managing some of the direct play. I thought that some of our structures that we want to get in the box and how we defend things, I thought was good. I thought the fullbacks did a good job of dealing with those little 1v1 situations, and I'd like to think that we denied a lot of their entries in there. I thought we made some smart dueling moments that disrupted some of their play. So as I say, this is me going off a hot take now. But as I say, there's some moments that stand out to me in the game that I thought we defended the box pretty well.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dino. Any other questions for Coach? Okay, we're going to let her go, and we'll be right back with Heather Gilchrist and Claire Hutton. Thanks, everybody.
Good evening. Yesterday, I spoke with Emma about how to quit at that and made changes. What was the biggest adjustments for tonight's game? Thank you.
So like first off, I think energy was a big adjustment that we talked about because a lot of it serviced off of that. We talked about how flat we were in the first half and needing to make the changes on that. And I think a lot of it goes with that. You could tell we had a fullback press in the first half, and we were then getting beat a lot getting down the line. So it was just about how we were able to shift a little bit quicker in our back line and just get the press on and more intentional rather than reactionary. So just kind of like the balance between that and then just getting the energy up. I think that was the biggest message.
Also, I spoke with them. How do you guys find the balance and the opportunities and strengths to face Chicago? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago, I think switching the fields that they played at for them, I think is incredible because they were able to bring a bigger fan base in, and the area is great. We were able to spend some time off the field, which was nice. But Chicago is a tough place to play in when it comes down to weather, when it comes down to being away from home. It was a challenging field to play on at times. It was very slick, bouncy, a little bit shorter than we're used to, but we need to be better on the road. We need to pick up 3 points when they're there, and we lost 2 points today. So yeah, it was challenging, but we need to be able to bring our best every day, and today was not that case.
Last question. You will be facing Utah. What do you learn about Chicago for the upcoming game? Thank you.
Yeah, I think one thing we talked about was just committing to our game plan fully. So I think for Utah, obviously scouting them and making sure we're really prepared, and then committing from the first whistle and bringing that energy like Claire mentioned, I think will be really important because Utah is a really good side. They're super organized. So just making sure we nullify some of their threats by committing early and setting the tone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paula. Marco, you're up.
Good evening, ladies. Mercury College Bay Area Sports Wrap. Claire, it seemed like when they brought in Mallory Swanson, that kind of changed the momentum of the game. They sort of, it seemed like Chicago really fed off of that. Like, how'd you see that when she came in there?
Pal's a great player. I think when you have a player of her caliber coming in, you know she's going to pose a threat. And I think if Mal was on our team, she's getting subbed in, the message would be get Mal the ball. And I think that's very similar to how Chicago was. She's a player that's very dynamic, you know what she can do and create. She had a great moment about halfway through the second half where she was able to get down the line and play an early cross. Maddie had an incredible recovery, was able to clear the ball out. So when you have players that are really the type of those like franchise players like she is, and just so dynamic and is able to create, you also have to be aware as the opposing team and the opposing line. So I think for us too, knowing how to handle that sooner and knowing that those switches are going to happen and they're going to look to get to the other side, we can adjust a bit better. But yeah, I mean, shout out to her that she's come back from maternity leave. She's just continued to make defenses scared, and it's great to see from her. But yeah, it's just an adjustment that teams have to make because of that.
And Claire, you guys were able to counter a few times, getting a couple breakaways. And you had a nice chance right inside the box there, hit the crossbar. And then you got the offsides, again, goals that got taken away from that. Is this something that's kind of just starting to haunt you guys a little bit with these chances?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I think this year we've had a lot of goals scored that have been called back, and it sucks. I mean, you never want that to happen. You never want to score a goal, celebrate, and then see the flag up and it get called back. But again, like, it's about consistency and finishing these opportunities. For me, I'm on the 3-yard line. Like, I need to finish that, even if it gets called back. So it's all in our control as well. Like, if we can hold that line a bit sooner, if that is the case, if the call is wrong, then we just obviously want a better situation and a better call on that next time. But just reactionary, and if we get 3 goals scored offside, let's score 5 and make sure 2 of those are onside. So that's got to be the mindset. Just continue to pound them, put them in the net, and be undeniable in that way.
And finally, for Heather, congratulations on your debut. What were the butterflies like when you were getting your call to go in there on the pitch like that?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was definitely a little nerve-wracking, especially coming into, a 0-0 game where we want to pick up 3 points. But yeah, just trusting my teammates, trusting the work that I put in. And yeah, we just have a really supportive team, and I knew everyone was going to have my back. So just trusting that and trying to make an impact in any way possible. And yeah, thanks.
How do you feel that you played in those 20 minutes that you were in there?
Sorry, one more time?
How do you feel about the way that you played when you got in there as a sub? How do you feel your game was?
Yeah, I think I was just trying to keep it simple, win my duels and try to connect passes. I think, there's a few times I could have maybe stepped in and won a header a little better, but I think overall I was just trying to do my job and keep it simple.
All right, congrats on the point. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks.
Thanks, Marco. We've got Dino up next.
Dino, the Cespedes to the channel. Hey, Claire, from your vantage point, what did you see? What's going on kind of in the first half of the last couple of weeks? Kind of conceded an early goal, a very slow start to this one, outshot early, and then you guys come back with a really big second half offensively. What did you see kind of in the first half, and what would you attribute kind of the slow start to?
I think the biggest thing for us is figuring out how to, one, adapt when teams come out a little bit different than we expect. What we found a lot of times is teams are starting on their front foot against us and putting us under pressure, and for us it's about how we can relieve that, and a lot of times that's being able to play seam 3 over the top. Chicago had a very high line the first half, and I don't think we used that to our advantage. So it's just being a little bit more creative in how we're going to get that, how we bring them in to then get over. And we looked at some clips at halftime, and then just kind of working off of each other, like forwards to the midfield. If we can have some deeper runs getting up, it's just about the efficiency of it. And then even too, when we are playing those balls, making sure it's a little bit more decisive in it. I think at times we were getting caught holding it, and that's where it kills you. We're getting stuck on the sides. It's just also about, like, we have a team that's very young and we're gaining experience game by game this entire season. We're growing a ton, so it's just being a little bit more confident in ourselves to make those changes as we're playing and growing into, like, who we are as a team. There's been a lot of growth this year, which has been incredible to see, but it's also frustrating when we're having moments where we play great and then moments where we look back and we don't see an identity. So I think it's just the balance between the two and figuring out how to be a bit more consistent on it. But again, it was a good response from us to be able to come out second half more on a front foot and knowing that we do have it in us. You've seen games where we've been able to put 4 goals away, have shutouts. So now it's just about being consistent about it and building on that.
And then what did you see in the second half that you liked offensively? Obviously, the a lot more chances, a lot more shots. XG, I think, was kind of getting racked up. Anything that you saw that's encouraging you can take into the next match?
Yeah, I mean, when we were bringing subs in, like, even the beginning to the first half, when we're able to switch the field, get numbers in the box, that's a big thing that we've been talking about. I think also, like, when we were bringing other players in, when we brought Taylor in, when we brought Carly in, that was just another dynamic 2 players that were able to create chances. And again, for us, it's how can we continue to get them on the ball. But Kennedy had some shots, a few outside of the box. Again, we need to clean up a little bit of upgrading our shots and getting in better positions. But when we were able to switch the field and find our weak side flank, we were creating. Alex was cooking on the right side. It's then about how we can get in the best positions in the box to then help finish those. It's tough getting goals called back, but again, like, it's good knowing that we are able to create them. It's just those little margins that we need to get better at to make sure that we're undeniable in those moments.
And then Heather, congrats on the debut, successful debut. You come into the match for a very exciting 20-ish minutes. What did that feel like? The match is in the balance, and obviously Bay's starting to find some rhythm. Were there nerves there, or did you kind of settle into the game?
Yeah, thank you. I think there were definitely nerves initially, but I think, yeah, just settling into the game, trying to find those players like Carly and Taylor to try to break on the counter, and then just making sure. It was really nice to have Maddie and Aldi on the side. I think they were talking to me a lot. Claire was talking to me, making sure I was in the right position, and just having that communication was helpful. But yeah, definitely a hectic game, but just trying to push to get 3 points and try to get the ball up the field was what I was focusing on.
Thanks, guys.
All right, any other questions for these two? Okay, that is it for us then. We will see you later this week as we get into Utah on Friday night. Thanks, everybody.